Good morning. This is English 8 for March the 31st, and I hope you're having a good day. Boy, God's been really good to us. He's given us a beautiful day outside, and the sun is shining, and the winds are blowing. It's pretty warm. Soon, hopefully, we'll be able to get out and enjoy that. I hope you're really trying to grow in the Lord. Spend this extra time that you have. Read your Bible. Study something. You know, one of the things that I did as a junior hire is I learned to take a word from the Bible, like love or faith or faithfulness or righteousness, and look it up everywhere I could find it in the Bible and learn about it. Study how to, who was faithful. Ask yourself those questions. Who was faithful? What was faithful? What did God say faithful was? Or whatever the word is. And study it. Spend some time doing it. Don't veg out in front of the TV and don't just play video games, okay? All right, well, let's review for just a minute. We said that there are two types of words that modify. Those are adjectives and adverbs. Adjectives modify or describe a noun or a pronoun, and they answer the questions: which one, what kind, how much, how many, or whose. Then we have adverbs. Adverbs describe verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs, and they tell us where, when, how often, to what extent, under what condition, and why. Now, I have to think what day this is, but you, on our last video, how's that? You learned to diagram, okay? Before we diagrammed, I had to make sure that you knew what a subordinate conjunction was. Subordinate conjunctions connect a dependent clause and an independent clause. Remember, every clause has a subject and a verb. A dependent clause has a subject and a verb, but it does not express a complete thought. An independent clause has a subject, a verb, and it expresses a complete thought. Okay, so there's your difference. Does it express a complete thought? Can it stand all by itself? Now, I told you an easy way to find adverb clauses is the fact that adverb clauses are introduced by a subordinate conjunction. By the way, what's an adjective clause introduced with? Hopefully you said a relative pronoun, okay? Because they are introduced with a relative. But adverbs are introduced with subordinate clauses. If you do not know your subordinate clauses, they are on page 203, and you really do need to memorize them. You really do need to know them. So let's look at them. If you don't know them, if you do, try to say them with me. After, although, as if, as much as long as soon as, because, before, if, in order that, lest, since, so that, than, that, though, unless, until, when, whenever, wherever, where, whether, and while. Those are our subordinate conjunctions. Subordinate conjunctions introduce an adverb clause. Now, your homework was to diagram the sentences on page 205. 205. Take out your diagrams and let's look at them. Brother Francis will be coming by on Thursday. I want you to send in all of your paperwork. Put it in a folder, staple it together, I don't care how you get it together, put it in a Walmart bag. Tie it up and send it in. If you live local, put it in an envelope. Mail it to me or tie it up and put it in a Walmart bag, drop it off at the school office. But I need everybody to turn in all of your written work that you have, that you've not turned in to me yet, from the time we got out of school to this week. Brother Francis, I believe, is coming on Thursday for those of you that live in Chicago. All right? Now, let's look at number 5. You may go as long as you return on time. What is my subordinate conjunction? As long as. So what is my clause? As long as you return on time. Put a bracket around that in your sentence. Okay? We know that we're going to diagram our independent clause first. So what is our independent clause? You may go. So our verb is may go. And our subject is you. You may go. Now we're going to diagram our dependent clause. So we're going to say, what is the subject and verb of the dependent clause? As long as you return on time. What is our subject and verb? You return. So below it, I'm going to write you and return. That is our subject and our verb. Okay? We also have a prepositional phrase, on time. What does on time tell us? When we'll return. Okay, so we're going to put in, since it just tells us when, it is an adverb, and it's going to go under our verb, on time. This is our preposition, and this is our object. Now we have a subordinating conjunction. We have to connect these two sentences. How are we going to do that? We're going to connect it with our subordinating conjunction as long as. We know that we're going to go from the verb to whatever it describes. In this case, it's going to describe the other verb. So draw a dotted line as, forgot what the words were, as long as. As long, Mrs. Turner should not have written so big. As long as. Okay, that is how we're going to diagram number 5. Let's look at number 6. As we crossed the swamp, an alligator surfaced. First of all, what is your clause? As we crossed the swamp. Put brackets around that in your sentence if you didn't. In your independent clause, what is your subject and verb? Alligator and surfaced. Okay, alligator is our subject. Surfaced is our verb. Okay, now, which alligator? An alligator. We have an adjective. We know that an is always an adjective. A, an, and the is always an adjective. They're called articles. Look now at your dependent clause. As we crossed the swamp, what's the subordinate conjunction? As. What is the verb? Crossed. What is the subject? We. What is the word swamp? Swamp is a direct object. Okay, so right underneath it, we're going to put our subject, our verb, and our direct object. We crossed what? We crossed swamp. Which swamp? The swamp. The is an adjective. Okay? Now, we have one word left, and that is the word as. As is our subordinating conjunction. We know we're going to go from the verb, but where are we going to go up here? We're going to go to the other verb, okay? And we'll write the word as. Okay? Let's look at number 7. If chance ruled the world, science would not be possible. Okay? What is your clause? What is your, find your subordinate conjunction. Put brackets around your clause. Okay? You said the clause was, if chance ruled the world. Okay? So outside of that, in your independent clause, what is your subject and verb? Science would be. Science would be. Okay? We know that the word not is an adverb telling us about the verb. Okay? So, science would not be possible. What is the word possible? It is an adjective after the linking verb would be, which makes it a predicate adjective because it describes science. Okay, let's talk about why. Possible describes science, and this is a linking verb. Since it's a linking verb, our complement is a predicate adjective. Now let's look at the clause. If chance ruled the world, what is your verb? Ruled. Who or what ruled? Chance, okay? what? Chance ruled world. Okay? Now that makes world our complement. What kind of complement? It is a direct object because this is an action verb. So this is a direct object. Next, we're going to say we have the word the. It's talking about the world. Which world? The world. So it's an adjective under world. Next, we have our subordinating conjunction. The subordinating conjunction in this case is the word if. If is going to go where? On a dotted line connecting the two verbs. Okay? That's how we're going to diagram that one. Let's look at the next one. Though the coast seemed clear, danger lurked everywhere. Your clause? Though the coast seemed clear. Put brackets around it. Now look at your independent clause. Danger lurked, everywhere. Okay? What is your verb? Lurked. Who or what lurked? Danger. Danger lurked. Danger lurked where? Everywhere. So everywhere is an adverb. Okay? Now look at your dependent clause. Okay? Your dependent clause was though the coast seemed clear. Okay? We know we're going to have a subject and a verb. So what is my verb? Though the coast seemed clear. The verb is seemed. Who or what seemed? Coast. Coast is my subject. Seemed is my verb. Coast seemed what? Coast seemed clear. Now, what kind of verb is seemed? It's not an action, it's linking. That makes this a predicate adjective because clear describes the coast, okay? So, coast seemed clear. Which coast? The coast. Now, the only thing we have left to diagram is the what? Subordinating conjunction, which is the word though. Though is going to link my verb to whatever it describes up here, which in this case is the other verb. So we're going to do this. We're going to diagram with a dotted line. Though. Though it seems, okay? Subordinating conjunctions go on the dotted line connecting the verb of the dependent clause to whatever it describes in the first sentence or in the first clause, okay? Number 9, when you fail, try again. What's the clause? When you fail. Put brackets around it. What is the subject and verb of your independent clause? It should be you and try, okay? But the you is understood. You try. You try, okay? Now I could put that when you fail, you try again. You can see how it's an understood you. When should you try or how should you try? You should try again. Okay? Now let's do our dependent clause. Okay? Our dependent clause says when you fail. Okay? What's the verb? Fail. What's the subject? You. Okay, I'm now going to connect my two clauses with my subordinate conjunction connecting my two verbs, and I'm going to put the word when. When you fail, try again. Okay, let's look at number 10. It's the last one. As long as her grades did not suffer, Tabitha could play volleyball. What is your subordinating conjunction? As long as. What is your dependent clause? As long as her grades did not suffer. Put brackets around that. As long as her grades did not suffer. Now, look at your independent clause. Tabitha could play volleyball. What's the verb? Could play. Okay, so let's write could play. Who or what could play? It is Tabitha. Tabitha. Tabitha could play. Next, Tabitha could play what? She could play volleyball. What is volleyball? It's a direct object. Okay? Okay, why is it a direct object? Because my verb is action and it answers the question what? Tabitha could play what? Volleyball. Okay? Next, in our dependent clause, we need a subject and a verb. What is my subject and verb? Grades is my subject. Grades what? Did suffer. Grades did suffer, okay? And we have the adverb not, so her grades did not suffer, okay? And we have whose grades? Her grades. Hers is an adjective. Now I need to connect my independent clause to my dependent clause. What am I going to use? My subordinating conjunction. In this case, it's the conjunction as long as. As long as. Okay? Those are our diagrams that you did for homework the other night. Hopefully they made sense and you didn't have any problems with them. If you had a problem, please email me or text me. Let me redo it for you on the video so that everybody can understand what we're doing. Now, when you are distinguishing dependent clauses, okay, there are various kinds of clauses, just like there were various kinds of phrases. We said there were adjective phrases, adverb phrases. We said that there were prepositional phrases, participial phrases. There are infinitive phrases and gerund phrases. Well, in clauses, look at number 1. It says all dependent clauses have introductory words. All clauses have an introductory word. If they're an adjective clause, it will be the relatives. If it is an adverb clause, it's going to be a subordinating conjunction. Remember, they help you to locate your dependent clauses. That's what they're there. But they usually do not help to determine whether the clause is a noun or an adjective or an adverb. All it says is, hey, here's the clause, okay? So now you have to decide. Noun clauses will function as the subject, or a noun clause will be a direct object, or the noun clause will be a predicate nominative, or a noun clause would be the object of a preposition, or it can be an appositive. These are the same jobs that we would call a regular noun do. A noun is a person, place, thing, or idea, right? And they act as the subject, the direct object, the indirect object, the object of the preposition, the appositive. These are the same jobs that a clause will also do. Adjective clauses are going to act as a modifier because they are an adjective. So they're going to describe. An adjective clause is going to describe a noun or a pronoun. An adverb clause is going to describe a verb, an adverb, or an adjective. Let's look at exercise A on page 206 together. It says identify the clauses as noun, adjective, or adverb. Hundreds would have never known want if they had not first known waste. Your clause is if they had not first known waste. What does that describe? It describes the would have known. So it's a adverb. Number 2, blessed is the man that trusteth the Lord, trusteth in the Lord. That trusteth in the Lord is our clause that describes what? It describes man. So it is a adjective clause. The gift certificate will be given to whoever wins the contest. Whoever wins the contest is acting like the object of a preposition. So it is a noun. Do number 4 and number 5 as your homework tonight. Make sure you do those before you take your quiz. Have a good day, guys.